Mic check, 1, 2. Good morning, guys. Happy Monday, July 11th. Let's get it going. Keygen, thanks for the good questions this morning. Headstock Hiram, good morning. Eric, how you doing, friend? DWAC up 20%. PH Dragon says, yeah, DWAC could be an interesting one to keep an eye on today. Give me just a minute. I'm going to pull up the Discord and go over with you guys what I went over with them. Out of the gate here this morning, I'm showing more decliners than gainers. 37.15 declining at market open, 2,700 advancing. We'll go over economics and all of that nonsense and what I think this week is going to look like in just a few minutes. AMC is green this morning, up 1.8%, 14.94. GameStop also up about 1%, 129. Couple of other ones that, let me pull up the Discord. Make sure I have my other tickers in here. EVFM, I said this morning that one looks like it is headed back on a downward trend. Looking at the MACD, the moving averages on the hourly and the daily. So trade that one with caution. It is now down 7% this morning. It still could get another rally, but that's a pretty big dip on EVFM. We've been watching that since about 5:30 this morning. Couple of others of interest that were running early today, ITRM and PLRX. I'll pull those up and see how they're doing now that the market opens. These, for me, are day trade only if the momentum continues. These are both either non-revenue or negative revenue companies. And the news on them is early clinical stage trial updates. So still a long way away from generating any meaningful revenue. That means that based on that news that is pushing them up today, I would only day trade these. I would. Doesn't mean that you know, if you want to buy them for long-term hold, that's up to you. I don't do a lot of long-term holds on pharmas, but if it's moving all day, and it's not right now, now that we're into the market open, if it moves all day, we'll take a look at it. The other one is PLRX, and that one is up. Looks like they had a big gap up. Let me go put the pre-market in there. You can see it's been trending up since we've been watching it early this morning from $10 up to 16. I've been up since 5:30 this morning. And we had a huge gap up on that one. So we'll keep an eye in 10 minutes and see what happens with this one. Other stocks that you guys care about, by the way, the NASDAQ and the SPY are both red. AMC now went into the red. Hycroft Mining at $1.04. Twitter, you guys, I'm sure, heard over the weekend the news with Elon and Twitter. Elon's threatening to back out of the deal. It's probably going to go to court. Whether or not they work out a deal in court, I guess we'll have to see. If they do, he'll probably get a lower price. I mean, maybe. That's what the negotiations are for, right? Twitter is going to be pushing him to close at the offer price, and he's going to be saying, I don't want to do the deal, or you need to provide me more data. Tesla, $740, Amazon, $112, Hycroft Mining, where'd it go? Oh, okay, Hycroft Mining. MULN is gapped up at the market open, $1.30. And coming down here. Rev is done and Redbox is done. So I'll move those off. Let's put PLRX up here. Other things, general market. I'll go through the news items in just a minute, but what I told the folks about 2.5 hours ago. Things that I'm going to be looking at driving the market momentum this week. There is a new variant, and Macau is going to 100% shutdown due to that. So expect your casino stocks to be seeing a little bit of pressure this week. I see Wynn Casinos down 6.5%. Why is something in Macau affecting U.S. casino stocks? Well, because most of these big casino stocks have a huge presence and a large portion of their income coming out of Macau. So your MGMs and your Wynn's, all of them are going to have some downward pressure from that. And we'll just have to see what this, I forget what it's called, BH5 or something, how it plays out moving through the globe. 2-year, 10-year bond, we'll look at that in a minute, but the continue to have an inverted yield curve on the bonds, highlighting the potential for a recession. Earnings this week, we got Delta and Pepsi. Pepsi reports on Tuesday, Delta on Wednesday. I'm not too worried about Pepsi, but Delta could be an interesting one to potentially change some market direction. And then we have a bunch of banks. We got Morgan Stanley on Thursday. Friday, we got Wells Fargo, Citibank, BlackRock, Bancorp, BNY Mellon, and State Street, your other favorite. We talked a little bit over the weekend in the Discord about why the euro continues to fall against the US dollar, if you've been paying attention to that. I put up a list in the Discord. You'd be surprised if you haven't been paying attention how many countries, not necessarily in the European Union, but in the European continent, are having inflation over 15 up to 20% and more. So the euro is struggling and the dollar is showing some relative strength. And then more importantly, maybe the most important thing that I'm going to be watching this week will be the CPI data on Wednesday. Don't forget, we got the Fed probably going to do a 3/4 point interest rate hike later this month, but CPI will kind of be driving this week. All right, let's look at some other stuff. Ortex update for AMC, and I'll do GameStop here also real quick, and then I'll get to your comments. %, short interest on AMC, shares on loan 143, cost to borrow 13%. That has come way down from all of those clickbait videos last week. 472%. That's why, you got to be careful making videos about stuff like that. Cost to borrow max is, as we discussed, could have been one lender that was out of shares raise their cost to borrow max. You got to hold your emotions in check before you rush videos or tweets out crowing about cost to borrow max. I noticed not one of the people that tweeted or videoed about that mentioned the cost to borrow min being 4%. So come on, guys, do better, all of you that are putting out this nonsense. Let's not get people riled up, overexcited over one data point that was a clear outlier. It's just not, it's not a good look. It's not fair to the viewers. Short interest on GameStop, 21.9%. Utilization still 100%. Cost to borrow 35%. We did a live stream over the weekend on GameStop, upcoming stock split. I'll get to that in a minute. AMC Max Pain, $15 based on the options chain. We'll take another look at that probably on Wednesday. I'm not too worried about what it is on a Monday. And GameStop is 130. All right, I'll go to some news items in just a minute, but first I want to get to some of your comments. Shin Kyoku, congratulations and thank you for your support. 6 months as a member of the channel. I appreciate you so much. Members of the channel, Discord members, well, if you're a member, you automatically get free access to the Discord. So thank you for that. Thank you for supporting the channel. And thank you to each and every one of you for being here this morning. I've missed you guys. PH Dragon, good morning. Mays 2019, Miss Fox, Manuel, John's Touchpad, Dino Mike, Tyler the Deaf Guy, good morning. Eric says the Weber options for $10 are up 25% of the moment at the moment. Let's see what Weber is doing. Weber is down 2.5% this morning. Let's talk about that real quick before I jump in these other comments. Let me get Strongman Finance off of here. If you want to know what's going on with Meet Kevin, go check out Strongman Finance. Get rid of that. Some people were asking me, is it true? Is it true Kevin got arrested? He did get arrested for a DUI. It's not a conviction at this moment. So, but Strongman, for whatever reasons, got the real info from Meet Kevin. So if you're curious on that topic, go check it out. Let's see. Weber. All right. I am in Weber with a small position and some September options. This is what I consider a relatively good company experiencing some short-term pain. Weber, the grill company, their financials are fairly decent, although recently in their last quarterly update, they expressed some supply chain issues and short-term outlook concerns. What is of interest to me with Weber is the short interest, and I'm weighing this on the fact that this is basically a good company, right? They have strong financials over the long term, not in the short term. And so they're getting shorted down, 58% short interest and cost to borrow 47%. You can pick this stock up right now for about $7.50. And if we go back a year, it was at $19. So if you're looking for something cheap to pick up and hold for maybe a year or two, let the supply chain issues work themselves out, that could be an interesting little adder to your portfolio. I'm not going in heavy on Weber, but I did add a little bit. And if it gets any further downward momentum, I'll add a little bit more. And I do have some September call options on it also. Ron says, did you hear China froze the assets? Yeah, let's put that in perspective. Also, again, there's a lot of sensationalism going on Twitter. I did tweet it out. It's 4 rural banks, not every bank in China. I wish people would take a moment to tell the truth. But it is very disturbing news that 4 rural banks in China told millions of customers, let's just say thousands or tens of thousands of customers, that millions of dollars worth of their deposits were frozen back in May due to system upgrades. And here we are in July, and these poor people, have not received any update from the bank, and their funds are still frozen. Very disappointing news. They're protesting every morning. They're getting hauled off and sent to detention camps and jail. It is indicative of some potential liquidity problems in China, but it is far from every bank in China is shut down. That is sensationalism going on Twitter. But it is potentially a canary in the coal mine, and you should pay attention to it. Good morning, Maggie. Rands, good morning. Ivan, good morning. Jason, Manuel, I already said hi to Manuel. Thoughts on PSNY? What I mentioned when I made the video a couple weeks ago, what was that, right before their ticker got changed, is I like the price range it was at before the ticker changed, the $9 range. Right about here, $9.93, $10. You can see it dropped all the way down to $8.50 on June 16th and then again on July 7th. So I think there may be some opportunities. There's no need to rush into Polestar. If you look at what is coming up for the economy in the rest of this year, and I'm mostly now bearish on the economy and the market for the remainder of this year, I think you can be patient on Polestar. I definitely said I was not going to buy on a FOMO run-up just because the ticker symbol changed and that I would wait for it to come back down. I had other things going on July 1st, so I did not buy Polestar for $8.70 on July 1st, but I will pick some up probably next time it tests that price range or below. I want to see some strength. Polestar, I think, of the EV companies that I've looked at so far, and I've been digging through all of them, there'll be more videos trickling out over the coming weeks and months on every EV company. It is one of the better players. Don't bite my ear. So I do like Polestar. They do have good potential, and they are producing a fair amount of vehicles. They're not one of these like MULN that has not really produced anything meaningful. Let's take a look at MULN in depth here real quick. So net, I'm going to wait a little bit longer on Polestar, and I think I can get it a little cheaper than today's price. MULN all the way down to $1.28. I see the people on Twitter and YouTube saying it's going to $10. I've also watched them lose about one guy in particular, about $60,000 in call options in the last 2 months, and he's about to lose another 100,000 this week. YOLO in call options on MULN. I wish him luck. I wish anyone luck that has MULN options expiring this week. I do have some, but they're not expiring until September. And I have a $2 strike. It's a just in case retail momentum. MULN has their earnings coming up, and there will probably be a dilution approved on MULN. Stop biting my ear. There'll probably be dilution approved in MULN. I know some people are saying it'll never be approved. Don't vote for it, guys. If you're in MULN and you don't vote for the dilution, that company's going bankrupt. That is my guess. They need to raise money. They need to raise money to get up into production. DevStat says, saw your tweet on China. Do you foresee the situation to escalate and start hearing the term contagion again? I've been watching China since late last year, DevStat. It's still risky over there in China. They keep on shutting their country down. That's not good for anybody. It's not good for commerce when you're shutting everything down. Man, the indexes are just cratering. If I was making a bet on the rest of this month, I'd be buying index puts. But we already had a pretty decent gap down this morning, so I might wait and see if we get one more fake bear rally before the Fed meeting. If you see this, the NASDAQ back up in the 295 range or SPY back up in the 388, 390 range, I'm going to be buying puts. Should have done it on Friday, but I don't like holding them over the weekend. So that's kind of where my thoughts are. Not a great outlook for the rest of this month. Otto, does he talk? Yeah, we might hear him talk. I've been watching him for a friend for the past week, and if he's in the cage, he's super noisy, but it took him a few days to get to trust me. And now finally we're best buds. So he's more talkative and noisy when he's in the cage, to the point where it's hard to be on camera. It's hard even to film because he's over there yapping and squawking. When he's with me, he's actually he's pretty quiet. Maybe he's just yapping because he wants out of the cage. I don't know. There's a couple cats wandering around here, so hopefully he doesn't jump down on the floor and get eaten. Dino Mike says, I once knew a pole star that was quite skilled. Haven't we all, Mike? I need an eye patch, Jason. That would have been good. I should have prepped better. Can you say Ken Griffin lied? Ken Griffin lied. I think I'll have to repeat it for a couple years. I just don't have that much time with him. He's going home mañana. What's up, Darren? And yes, at some point he'll probably poop on my back. All right, let's look at some cryptos. And I'll talk about some other trades maybe that I have going on. Bitcoin, 20,200. Ethereum, 1,100. Solana, $34. Phantom, 25 cents. Doge, 06. Ouch. Ouch, Doge. And SHIB, 0.00001. You would have been out of both of those. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I don't need to say it. Everything's down. Everything's down. I did complete the process yesterday of moving all my Gemini coins out of my Earn accounts back into my regular trading accounts, so I can finish up my Ledger Nano video. That will be going live later today. How to set up your very own offline cold storage wallet. So if you're curious about what that is, what it looks like, how to do it, is it complicated, I'll have 2 videos out there for you later today. Number 1 is why you need to do that, or why you might want to think about doing it if all your crypto is parked on an exchange. And the second one is just kind of an unboxing and walkthrough of the install and setting up your accounts on the Ledger. So those are almost done. I unfortunately had to wait for my coins to be finished moving out of the Earn accounts where you earn that interest, but also where you're most at risk. Darren, what's up? Hey, bro. Jim, good morning to you from Sverige, Sweden. Can you say 2 weeks? Arg. Meow. What do I think about Sundial stock split? Someone is asking. I do have a little bit of Sundial. I told the Discord over the weekend that I'll be doing an update on Sundial, hopefully before the reverse split. They haven't announced an exact date, but I think it's coming soon. And definitely before the earnings. Here's my thoughts on Sundial. It's still a very risky play in this sense. But I'm still going to hold my stock because let me walk you through in 20 seconds. Reverse split is going to be a bearish signal. They'll do the reverse split. The price will pop up and it will sell off. Now at what? If they do a 10-for-1 reverse split or 1 for 10, if it sells off, now you're losing 10 times faster. That's the downside. But the upside that I'm waiting for, really, before I make my give up on Sundial or hang in, is I want to see the next earnings and see if they're making any momentum with these acquisitions that they got. That's their get out of jail free card. So I might pick up a little bit more cheaply before earnings, but I'm just hesitant to do that before this reverse stock split, because I think once that reverse split happens, it will tank a little bit more. So I can't give you a firm thumbs up on Sundial, but I'm hanging on to the shares I purchased under 50 cents. And we'll see what happens. It's a very small position for me. If I lost it all, it would not be, I wouldn't lose one wink of sleep. Darren, your brother has an African gray. Yeah, these birds, they're very fascinating creatures. I'm glad I got to spend a week with one. They're very smart, pretty social, but man, you're talking a 30-year commitment with a squawking loud animal. I admire anybody who could do that. I'd want a separate wing in the house just for keeping birds. If I had one, I mean, to have it in your living room or your kitchen, freaking loud. His favorite sound is the sound that a smoke detector makes when it's out of battery. So if you can imagine listening to that all day, he'll probably do it here at some point. Ms. My man, can I please confirm that the shorts are fucked? Ms., I'm watching with interest and waiting for this GameStop stock split, because that is our one of our upcoming catalysts. The other thing is, what is Aron going to talk about with his pounce signal? So we got two potential things. Let's talk about GameStop real quick, and then I'll talk about AMC. Ultra Ape says they crap all over the place. Ultra, I can tell you from personal experience, this guy compared to chickens is a lightweight. You want to talk about crapping all over the place. Oh, and rabbits. Frickin' Scarlet and her rabbits. Chickens and rabbits poop all over the place. By comparison, he's a true gentleman. GameStop stock split. I'm going to double down on what I said in that live stream. I know it was a long one. We spent about the first hour going through all the work that we did last week, trying to run down thousands of different tweets, posts, videos, due diligence, months and years of work and theories that people have put in on GameStop doing a dividend. And everything that I came up with, I tweeted out on July 6th and put it up in the community tab on my YouTube page July 6th, before anybody, saying that in my due diligence leads me to believe this will act no differently for GameStop than a stock split. This is not going to be a tens of billions of synthetics need to be found and the price is going to go to $1,000 because of a stock split. But let me finish that thought before you get all pissed and unsub. The stock split, because it has the word dividend on it, is confusing a lot of people. I talked to brokers. I've seen Dave Lauer's follow-up. His follow-up was published 2 days after mine. 100% agreed with what I found, and other people that I've been working with have found that this is coded and will go into the market just like a regular stock split. So I'm not expecting anything specific to the word dividend in there. I get it. I know what a dividend is. I know the obligations. I know every single freaking theory, conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat, dream, fact-based, wish-based, whatever. I've seen them all last week. That's all I did. I understand everything you're saying. I understand everything you're yelling and about to type in. I don't agree with it. And none of my research led me to believe that any of it is factual. It's all theory. And when I dug in and talked to actual people, none of it held up. That being said, stock splits in general are usually bullish, especially with companies that are well liked, like Tesla. And I'm not going to say that Tesla ran up because it had the word dividend after their stock split in August 2020. Tesla ran up because it has fanatical investors that love the company and think it's worth $5,000. And they bid the price up to unreasonable levels. You saw what it go to, $1,200. Ridiculous PE ratio that we all said, any of us that use common sense, would eventually come back down. So when Tesla split, that was its first split ever, 5-for-1 split. It did have the word stock split dividend. The short interest barely changed. I don't think the shorts held on at that point to spend billions of more dollars on a position that had already dropped from 15% short interest months before the stock split was announced. It started dropping months before. When the stock split was announced, through when it was announced, it only dropped about 1%. And it's slowly been coming down. Tesla ran up because people were buying it. And that's what GameStop needs. That's what AMC needs. So the best case that people have is, look what happened to Tesla. You know, GameStop's going to 2,000 because of this split. Tesla, in my humble opinion, and I could be wrong, that's fine. I'm not here to debate it. This is just my opinion. Ran up because of fanatical investor base. And that is the best case scenario to screw the hedge funds and the shorts on GameStop, is that people get excited and buy in pre-split for GameStop or post-split, and buying pressure will drive the price up. And especially after the split, if it moves back up, let's from 30 or 35 bucks to 50, 60, 100, depends on the buying pressure. If it moves up like that, that's going to put a serious world of hurt on shorts. So I'm not saying it's bad news. I'm just saying I don't think that the word dividend is going to have any meaningful contribution to what happens with GameStop. So the reason I say that, if nothing really happens, well, you heard it here first. You understand why. And if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. I hold GameStop. And we'll talk about that after the fact. Anybody who's telling you that it's going to go to 1,000 or 2,000 bucks, I can 100% guarantee you they will not come back and say they're wrong. Just like every other clickbaiter, they'll just forget they ever made the video and never mention it again. All right, let's talk about AMC. I want you guys to go to the channel Just Another Ape, which is Super Steven's renamed channel. And he put out a video over this weekend about Paramount. And get off my keyboard. Put out a video this weekend about Paramount. Could Paramount potentially be the Pounce? Could what was that? Paramount consent decree. I'll put a link to the Wikipedia. Actually, I'll put a link to the Justice Department. This is a long read. If you like reading, I'll put the link in here for you. If you don't like reading, go watch Super Steven's video over at Just Another Ape. And if you haven't heard about this, there's been a long-standing Supreme Court decision from, I think the final decision was in the 40s or 50s. I've looked into this briefly with Steven and talked with him a few times over the last week about this, but I haven't done the super deep dive. I'm just like speed reading through it, trying to pick out what's important. Steven's really been digging in and talking to folks, so that's why I want you to go watch his video. But at a very high level, this Paramount consent decree is going to, if you think way back into the 30s, movie production companies like Paramount or other ones, whoever was around back in the day, they wanted to control where their movies were shown. They wanted to own everything, and they owned theater chains, and that became a item of unfair competition. And so there was a judgment telling them that they had to divest of all of their theater chains and just concentrate on movies. And that opened up this whole independent movie theater concept and gave movie theaters a lot more leeway on what movies they chose to show. The advent of the independent film and independent movie theaters. Well, now, because we have Netflix and Hulu and all sorts of streaming options, cable TV, things have changed since the 30s, 40s, 50s, and the courts are allowing this basically to expire. There was I haven't looked into it enough to tell you the right legal term, but August 4th, this judgment, this ruling will no longer be in effect. Yes, August 4th in 3 weeks. August 4th, the same day that AMC reports earnings after they moved it up from August 7th. August 4th, the same date that Paramount reports their earnings. August 4th, the same date after which Aron said he would unveil a pounce. Do you catch my drift yet? Could there be something coming with Paramount and AMC? Maybe. I can't say for sure. It's 100% speculation. The other thing that I've thought about with AMC that I've told the folks in our group is that Aron is very old school, and for him a pounce could be something as simple as showing a profitable quarter. Now, I know all of us are hoping that it's something grand, something huge, and maybe it will be. Maybe it will be. But what if there's a partnership agreement with Paramount? Could be interesting. Paramount Plus, the streaming service. Jeffrey Roca, good morning. So Jeffrey says, so you're saying Morant's rants might be misleading. I briefly skimmed through his video, Jeffrey, and what I heard him say, again, what I heard him say was he was just taking it like another thing. Now, I don't know, did he say that the hedge funds are screwed on this deal? Let me know in the comments. What I do have a problem with Mr. Morant's is he put out a very untrue video over the weekend on AMC and Hycroft Mining with a bunch of incorrect facts about Hycroft Mining. And I dropped him a comment, and it's been 2 days, and he's not bothered to respond to it. He got every bit of due diligence on Hycroft Mining incorrect. Why is Aron putting out NFTs with AMC and Hycroft Mining, congratulating investors for owning it? You don't know. You probably don't even own Hycroft. They're just trying to trick you into buying it. If you own AMC, you own Hycroft. AMC owns a 21 point something % stake in Hycroft. That's a fact. Common stock. The second thing that Mr. Morant's got incorrect, saying that all of AMC's positions in Hycroft were through warrants. 100% incorrect. AMC has around 23 million shares of common stock and an additional 23 million warrants. So he got that wrong. And he got confused with the number 50%. AMC, as long as they hold 50% of their common share stock of Hycroft Mining, they get a seat on the board of directors at Hycroft. Sounds like he read something for about 60 seconds, made up his own facts, and then made a video. The thing that I do agree with him on is that Hycroft is not profitable and probably won't be for a while. I've been very clear with you guys on that since the very first video I made on Hycroft Mining in March, saying don't rush in and buy it just because of this announcement. Yeah, a bunch of people did and ran it up to $3. I said I'd buy in closer to $1, and I finally did on Friday last week. Sometimes patience is your friend. Patience and good due diligence. Hycroft's not really going to be pulling any meaningful gold out of the ground until they do more dilution, raise more money, and we're probably talking 2024 at the soonest. You have plenty of time for Hycroft, and there is plenty of additional downside risk. It could drop into the 30-40 cent range by the end of this year. So worst case, you know. I bought a little bit, and I'll consider adding more if it goes down further. Ray Mill says, if you could only invest in one, would it be AMC or GameStop? It would be AMC, Ray Mill, and I'll tell you why. I do own both, but if I'm just looking at the past 12 months as a fundamentals type investor, right? AMC is showing improving revenues and earnings every quarter. We're still in the negative. We have a lot of debt. There's plenty of things to be concerned about with AMC, but we're on a improving trend line. I'm not seeing that out of GameStop, and I'm not seeing any guidance from management. My bet on GameStop is 100% around the transformational ability of Ryan Cohen. That's a big leap for me. So my position in GameStop is smaller than AMC. GameStop has thousands of brick and mortar stores which are dependent on consoles and games. You know, games have pretty much moved to digital downloads. And they have merchandise also, but for that model to continue to be successful is going to be a problem. There must be fundamental transformation at GameStop. So that's my bet. My bet is 100% Ryan Cohen. I'm not in GameStop for nostalgia. I had a GameStop members card when my kids were kids, and then everything went digital, and we just didn't ever go to GameStop after that. I'm a consumer, and I got to look at it like that. I don't care about nostalgia. I like gaming. My kids like gaming. I've always liked GameStop. I was a frequent customer of GameStop, but when it comes to my money, now I've got to put on a different hat. So I look at GameStop. What are the fundamentals? What's the future prospects of this company? And for me, it comes down to massive transformation is needed. And if and when that announcement is made, this thing could absolutely blow up. So I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. I believe in Ryan Cohen. I'm a Chewy's customer also. He's done great things over there. He's held his own. He held his own growing that company against the likes of PetSmart and Amazon. He's a smart guy. He surrounds himself with smart people. I'm not worried about the CFO being ousted. I'm not worried about the layoffs. I think those are probably good moves, and we'll just remain patient. And we could get some momentum up on GameStop due to the stock split. That would be awesome. And if it continues running after the split, we're going to screw some hedgies for sure. Ms. My Man says, won't synthetics be exposed through accounting when the split happens? Here's my common sense take on that. Every position that is out there right now, well, you can agree with me or not agree. Again, I'm not going to debate it. But every position that is out there is legitimized through the DTCC in one fashion or another. Whether it's rehypothecated, shorted, FTD, a real share, a synthetic. I'm going to talk about synthetics again in a second because I posted a bunch in the Discord about what is a synthetic. But let's talk about the ones that I agree exist: naked shorts, FTDs, and rehypothecated shares. All of those are legitimate in the process of the DTCC, which means when a split happens, all of them will split. I get it. There's a little bit of debate about what if you're a borrower. Well, we'll find out here in a couple weeks. But from everyone that I've talked to in the industry, it's going to be a non-issue. And my broker confirmed to me if I was short GameStop, I would not owe any additional money or need to find any additional shares after the split. In fact, multiple brokers confirmed that. So I don't go off of theories posted on Reddit. I don't go off of theories on Twitter or on YouTube. I go off of doing my own legwork and confirming stuff. I know about the computer share thing. I don't know how anyone could make a post saying computer share is going to get all the shares, and then if there's anything left, DTCC will come begging. Well, number one, DTCC has their own process for companies to submit shares directly to them or dividends for further distribution. And number two, I called Computer Share myself, and they refused to explain their process or how it would work with GameStop. So if I couldn't get the information, how could anyone else get it other than conjecture? And I didn't see anybody saying, here's my proof, my phone call or the text transcript of my conversation with Computer Share, or an email where they confirm this. They're reading the definition of a transfer agent and making up their own narrative. So let's keep our heads on straight, keep our wits about ourselves, not, mainline hopium. And then if something fantastic happens, that's a bonus. And if nothing happens other than a regular stock split, well, at least you didn't get rug pulled by the clickbaiters again. Caden says, what's your opinion on the Pounce tweet from Aron? So hopefully I just covered that for you, Caden, a couple minutes ago. Hopefully it's profitable quarter, or potentially it's reporting a profitable quarter. Potentially it might be something with Paramount. What else he has planned, I don't know. Hopefully it's something much better than either one of those. But we need a catalyst, guys. We're talking in the live chat, in the voice chat on Discord last night about what you need to make a short squeeze happen. And if you look back last year at AMC and GameStop, you need three things. You need relentless buying pressure. You need a high short interest and cost to borrow. And you need, what was the third item? Buying pressure, short interest, not a catalyst. A catalyst is the thing that really lights it on fire. Oh, the options chain loaded up, a gamma squeeze. You need all three of those. And you've seen over the last year, right, several months where the options chain was fully loaded and the clickbaiters made videos telling you, this is going to take off in January. The options chain's the biggest it's ever been. That is pointless if you don't have buying pressure. You got to have all three at the same time. Buying pressure, high short interest, fully loaded options chain. And since last year, we haven't had all three simultaneously. What will make that happen? A catalyst, a real catalyst, or the unknown catalyst, as I call it, for GameStop and AMC. So we need a catalyst, and I hope Aron's Pounce is some true catalyst that excites people enough, both institutionally and retail, to get buying pressure going again. If not, then you're in for a long wait to let the company fundamentally improve. And the industry is improving. The industry is looking, almost back on par with where it was in 2018, 2019 in terms of box office and revenue. So we're on the right track with AMC. But for those of you who are hoping that it was going to be a quick in and out like I was initially, well, we're well past that. So it may require some patience. I sure hope Adam has some excellent good news for us in August. We'll have to wait and see. Samuel says, is the bird loud at times? He's loud all the time if he's not with me. I finally figured out after watching him for the last week for a friend that he's probably being loud because he wants out of his cage. Because he doesn't really talk. I mean, he doesn't squawk once he's out of the cage. George, what's going on, friend? George Triple Sevs. Roseanne, good morning to you. Sammy Boy, good morning. Jason, how do you feel about calls on pickles? Be careful, Jason. I think Tyler's in the chat somewhere. We're going to run him off. Sammy says, if AMC announces Popcoin or a crypto coin during the crypto crash, would that be poor timing? As much as I would like to see AMC announce a crypto coin, I think, yes, right now the market timing of that would make it a flop. I hate saying that because that's been one of my, what are you doing? That's been one of my favorite potential catalysts for the last year. But the timing for a crypto coin is not right now, Adam. Can it be? Good morning. The parrot could be the catalyst. Eric says, Tony, I think you speak for all of us when I say we've heard you say the best pounce would be a profitable quarter. That being said, give me a big brain theory. What's something cool? Eric, some sort of partnership with a streaming company, I think would be unexpected by most people. In terms of, no one's been talking about that really for the last year. And we're looking for unknown catalysts, unexpected catalysts that the hedge funds that are hanging on didn't plan on in their modeling. They can plan on a market crash. They can plan on a market downturn. They're in hog heaven right now with this market downturn, most of them. They loaded up on puts. They loaded up on SPY puts. They're doing just fine. So we need to catch them off guard with something and drive the price up. All right. PLRX, man, it ran all the way up to 22.56 this morning, but it's kind of slowed down. Sammy Boy says, am I still bullish Phantom long term? Yeah, Sammy, all of my cryptos, my basket of crypto that I'm holding is a 10-year hold. So I've got, before the market crash, I had about 20% exposure to crypto overall portfolio. And obviously that is down depending on when I was dollar cost averaging. I haven't even looked at the balance, but it might be down 40 or 50%. But I don't worry about that because I'm not 100% of my portfolio is not in crypto. And the second reason I'm not worried about it is I'm a long-term believer in crypto. So if it takes a year or 2 years to come back, I'm still going to be buying during the crypto winter. My biggest mistake on all of my cryptos back in pre-2020 days when we had that several year lull period was not continuing to buy. I was playing Bitcoin back in 2017, 2018 on the run up, that little blippy run up, which we thought was huge back at the time. And then when it crashed, I sold out, and I was just like, well, that's over. That was a mistake. Thinking it was over was a mistake. I'm all in on crypto as far as long-term belief now. But when I say crypto, I mean the big ones that have real acceptance and real utility. If you're going to survive the crypto winter, I'm talking Bitcoin, Ethereum, things in the Ethereum space like Solana, Phantom, Cardano. Those are what I like for holding through this nonsense. I'm still holding my Phantom because it is in that space. Aaliyah says, is being a member of your Patreon and a member of your channel two different things? Aaliyah, they are separate things. There's no need to do both, Aaliyah. You've already got the badge. If you sign up on the YouTube page using that join button, you get that nice badge next to your name. Both of them are just a tool to get you into the Discord and support the channel. So please don't sign up on both. Mr. N says, imagine you go watch a movie at the theater and automatically own it on your streaming platform. Hey, I like that. I haven't heard that one before, Mr. N. What do I think about XRP, George? I had a small position in XRP in my Coinbase account, and I sold it. It was probably under $500, George. I sold it and a couple of small nonsense coins. When I closed out, I took all my assets out of Coinbase back in May because of concerns about Coinbase, even though they say there's no concern about going bankrupt. So I was a holder of XRP. I am not at the moment. Doesn't mean I won't come back and consider it again. What about that new Japanese crypto? I haven't heard about it, Jesse. Straight Talk says, Rants claims he had a call with you and that he opened your eyes to GME's positives and AMC's negatives. Well, I doubt, first of all, I'd be disappointed if that's what he said, because first, we did not talk about AMC. We did a live stream, and the very first rule was 0 AMC would be discussed, because I already knew what he would say, and I was not going to allow that on this channel. So if he said that, that is not correct. We allowed him a space to inform us and educate the viewers on his take on GameStop, because I don't spend my entire week doing due diligence on GameStop. He knows much more about it than I do. He's much more bullish on GameStop than I am, and I get a lot of people that want to know about GameStop, and I wanted to give the viewers that want to know more bullish case on GameStop a chance to hear from somebody and hear us ask him some questions. And in that regard, in the sense that we got to learn more about GameStop, yes, it was a great video collab. AMC was not discussed. Capital J, did I mention the crypto coin to Adam in Dallas? Adam gave, I got to talk to Adam for about 5 minutes between shaking his hand, and then we just happened to be, Casey, Shaw, and I happened to be standing around chatting and doing that quick little video after the movie outside the theater. and just chit-chatting. It was our first time to meet in person, and for Casey's wife and Scarlett to meet. So everybody was doing the get to know you, shake the hand type thing. And lo and behold, Aron comes walking out after finishing his marathon handshaking session. And so Casey and I got to have a chat with him alone. That really did happen. And then Casey went off his direction, and where Scarlett and I had parked happened to be the direction that Adam had parked. So we got to have more talk with him all the way out to the curb outside the shopping mall. This theater in Dallas was absolutely beautiful. Best AMC theater I've seen, maybe the best theater I've ever seen in my life. Stunning theater in a mall. We got to have a long chat with him until he got outside, and I don't know if he didn't want us to see his car or he was waiting for an Uber or a black car service. I don't know, but he sat down and waited, and he kind of was like, all right, well, thank you. And he was signaling that was the end of the conversation. So we did a more get to know you type chat, and I wanted to leave a good impression so that down the road, maybe we can have him on camera. You never know. So I didn't push him hard in the first meeting, but he was told by Casey and myself that we're YouTubers and we appreciate his efforts and yada, yada, yada. But I did not press him on any specific issues in the first meeting. I just didn't feel it was appropriate to do that the first time. And, he wasn't there for that. Mr. N says Netflix needs a new way to compete with other streaming platforms. Yeah, Netflix is getting a bit of a wake-up call, aren't they? Their model isn't really working out, and the other streaming platforms are now kind of like back on their heels. They got an uppercut. They're like, shit, if Netflix is faltering, we better cut back our spending on independent content development. The whole thesis that we've been hearing for the last 2 years that streaming was going to take over and movie theaters were going away. Well, I'm sorry, that argument is not holding up. AMC is roaring back into relevance, and the streaming services bit off more than they can chew, overspending, getting too woke. Again, just an opinion. You can agree or disagree. I'm not going to debate it. Disney, Netflix, there's a certain amount of half the country going to give them some backlash over that stuff. So they've got to sit back and have some conference room meetings and think about their strategic direction. Streaming companies are not a slam dunk. They do have an advantage of not paying brick and mortar, but in a sense, they're almost shooting themselves in the foot, pushing certain agendas. Ravenstown said Morant's Rants did not say that. Morant's Rants has a lot of respect for Tony and Mass. He has thanked them in his channels many times for the opportunity. I saw that. I did see a very gracious thank you from him, and he retweeted the live stream we did, and I appreciate his time. I'm fine with him as a person. I'm fine with him as a GameStop YouTuber. I would prefer that people not spread misinformation about, I don't know, AMC or Hycroft, but I'm not here to babysit everybody's channel. So Wedmore, are there any pros or cons to buying GameStop before the stock split? That's a good question. If, I don't know what the market's going to do. So with the economics and CPI and interest rates and all of that coming up. But let's just say that the market volatility was taken out for a second and we were looking at GameStop in isolation. if in that scenario, I would want to buy GameStop before the split, because the tendency after a split is for stocks to run up, or the tendency leading up to the week before a split is for stocks to run up. So if it were me, if I was adding more GameStop, which I don't know if I will be at 127, I would be buying it before the split, because if it's running up after the split, now you're paying 4 times. If you get my drift, it's going to run up 4 times faster if you're spending the same dollar amount. Can It Be says it was good not to bring up AMC. You don't want him to feel pressured. Oh, I'm sure Can It Be, he would not have felt pressured talking about AMC. I was more concerned about you guys, the viewers. You don't come on our channel to hear someone shit talk AMC. So out of respect for you guys, the content, we all agreed beforehand, the content discussed would only be GameStop. I know people were coming in the chat on that live stream wanting to ask AMC questions. That was not the point of that live stream, just GameStop. AMC Phil says he absolutely said that, 100%. Let us know which video, Phil, and I'll go check it out on my morning break. Will Musk pull the plug on Twitter? He said that he is going to, Nikki, but now they got to go to court in Delaware. There'll probably be some negotiations. It is funny, Elon's tweet. First, they didn't want me to buy Twitter. Then I said, I'm not going to buy it. Now they're forcing me to buy it. Oh, Elon. Cracking me up, bro. If he does agree to buy it, I think, there's going to be an interesting discussion about the bots. I can tell you, I'm not super active on Twitter, although I have been a little more in the past week or 10 days when I was not doing as much live streaming. Every day I wake up and block bots. Every freaking day. Crypto bots, dating channel bots. There are a lot of bots on Twitter. I don't know what percentage there is, but it is ridiculous. You guys know if you're on there. Your DMs, you get a lot of ladies from China sliding in your DMs to talk to you about crypto. It's enough to make a Scarlet angry. Who's that girl? Why is she DMing you? AMC 1444 down 1.5%. GameStop just slightly in the red, 128.17. NASDAQ down 1.5%. The S&P down 1%. Not a whole lot green on the old watch list today. MULN is up 12% though. MULN at $1.32. I didn't see any specific news on MULN, so I checked this morning. But we'll take it. I've got $2 strikes on MULN that expire in September. That was one of my recent purchases, and I purchased some Hycroft at around $1 last week. Made some money on BBIG puts last week. I'm not in any plays on BBIG at the moment. Let me name, symbol, A to Z. There we go. Although BBIG is down 5% this morning. ENDP down 9%. EVFM down 7%. Let's look at these two stocks. These were the retail darlings a little bit over the past couple weeks. I've been talking to the folks in Discord with my thoughts on these for the past 10 days or so. ENDP had a much shorter half-life than EVFM. These are what we call the uneducated retail run-up plays, and we will take advantage of people not paying attention to YouTube or trusted sources running these up to run in on them, write them up, and then get out. You know, while people are expecting it to go to $5, we'll be out at 82 cents. ENDP having both ENDP and EVFM are fundamentally flawed companies. There's no reason, zero reason that big money is going to be heavily investing in these. So these are retail run-ups only. And as soon as retail runs out of money, these things are going to come crashing back down. Roe v. Wade was what I call the plausible pump news. It is the reason that some ingenious people put the bug in people's ears that, hey, did you check the short interest? Did you check the cost to borrow? This could be a good play. And then unsophisticated folks will just look at those two things and say, yeah, high short interest, high cost to borrow. Roe v. Wade, this is a slam dunk. It's going to $20. No, these are troubled companies. There's no way. No way. The shorts will ride these out as long as they can. So but we will play them. We'll play them and take advantage of the people that think they're going to that, and then we get out at the top. When you see this run up and then declining volume, that's all you need to know, that this play is already done. It's just a matter of time. It's going back down to 30 cents, maybe this week, would be my guess. You can't just look at moving averages, cost to borrow, and short interest. How many times have you guys seen that on all these different channels, all of them, over the past year and a half, where the only thing they talk about is short interest and nothing happens, or cost to borrow and nothing happens? Because you got to have all of the things. You got to have a catalyst. You got to have buying pressure constantly. You got to have a fully loaded options chain. And if all of these things aren't adding up and staying in place, well, the play is going to deteriorate. Your signal is declining volume. Aaliyah, is BBIG still a good long-term play in my opinion? I was playing puts on it last week, Aaliyah, so that if that's any indication of what I think, I don't want to shit on people's BBIG due diligence, but I've never once ever found a reason to buy it except for the scenario I just described to you. I bought BBIG, told you guys I was buying it, calls in the uneducated retail run-up prior to the Cryptide split, and I sold that late day in May, right before the date of record, pocketed a few 100% gains in a week, and never looked back. Got to get out before everyone else is going to realize at some point they got rug pulled. I don't want to be hanging on at that point. So I've been communicating that to you guys on the live streams, and definitely talking about it in the Discord every day. Scott Hill says, what does the SEC do with the money they receive from the fines? That is a good question, Scott. I don't know. Seems like they'd be rolling in dough, right? And they can't even afford coffee. So what the heck are they doing with the money? That's a good video to do one day when I have time. KL says, your parrot looks like you a lot. Yeah. Freaking beady eyes and beak nose. He sure does. We get that a lot, KL. Good eye, friend. Good eye. We, the investor, gets ripped off, but the SEC gets the money. Nicholas, how big is his vocabulary? He can say a few words. Say, Ken Griffin lied. 2 weeks. Yeah, he's being quiet today. MULN Automotive signs agreement with Amazon delivery partner for EV cargo vans. Is that what's making MULN run today? Did we finally get the announcement? All right, let me pull that up. We've been waiting. I typed without looking at the keyboard, and my fingers were one key off. The ticker symbol that I typed in was L-U-N-K, lunk. That's pretty funny. M-U-L-N. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got on old MULN. I have $2 strikes on MULN, just a small position, just in case there was, we've been waiting on this Fortune 500 announcement. I said, I'll put a few $100 in it, just in case. If I could turn 200 into 500 or 1,000 in a week, that'd be all right with me. Delpac Logistics LLC to place an order for up to 600 Class 2 EV cargo vans over the next 18 months. Conditions include the following. They will place a PO over the next 18 months. The vans will be fully homologated for the United States. The first 300 vans can be delivered by November 30th, 2022 at the request of DPL. Interesting. It's my understanding that MULN doesn't have any vans in stock and that they're ordering these things from China and then upfitting them with their technology. So it's July now. Could they get 300 vans from China by November? That's a good question. Or do they already have some sitting in a warehouse that I don't know about, or a parking lot? I've been tracking some DD that is checking import records for MULN, and the last thing that I read is they've only taken delivery of 2 vehicles, 2 vans. They're prototypes. So I'll need to do a little more digging into that, and I'll get back with you guys on a MULN update. But yeah, 600 is better than 0. I don't know if I'd call that a major announcement, Dave Mishery, but it's good news. Might be enough to run MULN up to $2. I sure hope so. MULN also put out some information over the weekend that they paid off like $17 million of their debt, which I think was, let me pull up my own Twitter. I tweeted it out. Let's see what Tony Denaro said. A lot going on this weekend. It's hard to keep everything straight. You guys wonder why I can't remember people's birthdays. Too many numbers and dates and tickers. All right, here we go. This was other good news over the weekend from MULN. MULN eliminates $17.5 million in company debt. This was July 5th. MULN eliminated $17.5 million and reduced its overall indebtedness from more than $30 million to an estimated $11 million currently. That's a significant reduction. So I don't know where they got the money from. maybe they did a little dilution. There was some ongoing dilution in MULN over the last 3 months, so maybe that's where that money came from. But good for them to pay off their debt. Really, what they need is cash, though. So, good to see 2 good news items on MULN. Come on, baby. Run up to $2. This week would be nice. Hope for a generation. Good morning to you. Ravenstown, what do you make of Eric Sprott selling millions of shares of Hycroft? Yeah, that's a good question. So I was looking at Hycroft's institutional ownership and Mr. Sprott. You know, my friend Spence on Twitter had a theory, which I asked him. He did a tweet saying that Eric Sprott was, what did he say? You guys go check Spence's Twitter from 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. I think that he said Eric Sprott sold shares because he was making room for warrants that he was going to exercise, which, newsflash, Eric Sprott didn't buy warrants. I asked Spence to follow up with some due diligence. Give me a link. Why are you saying that Eric Sprott sold shares because he's making room for warrants that he's about to exercise? Never got a single response. Come on, Spence. Don't tweet out stuff and then you're not able to back it up. People are counting on people that they see as reasonable and rational. And when you do stuff like that, it makes me lose trust. Makes me lose trust in you. All right, Hycroft, that's what we're looking up. Eric Sprott never owned any warrants. I went back through all the SEC filings this weekend, and I'll put this up for Hycroft on the window for you guys. Here's where we're at. So initially, back in March, AMC and Mudrick, both AMC and Eric Sprott both bought 23 million shares. So here's Eric's previous shares. AMC has 23 million shares plus 23 million warrants. Eric only bought shares. If he had warrants and was still holding them and making room for them, you would see them right here, or you would see them in any filing from March, and it's just not there. And Eric sold 4,000 or so of these shares. Why? I don't know. Maybe he needed money. Maybe he's worried about Hycroft going down. Maybe he watched my video in March saying Hycroft isn't going to produce gold till 2024. I don't know. AMC has said that they're gonna diamond hand their shares and their warrants. Mudrick, our good friends, Mudrick, long history with Adam Aron. The reason I think Adam Aron got dragged into saving Hycroft is because of Mudrick. Hey, Adam, we need some retail investors to save this failing company. You think you can arrange for some money? Hycroft can be okay. They can pull it off, but they need more money. So more dilution coming. Don't spend a lot on Hycroft. If you do spend a lot on Hycroft, be prepared to wait a couple years and weather a lot of volatility. Hycroft is about 90% more volatile than the S&P 500, which means it could have big swings down. Also means it could have big swings up. So I do have a position in it now at $1. Just picked it up last week. Could not figure out any reason. None was disclosed why Eric sold his shares. So he's probably just making a business decision. 1796 Patriot, thank you for that heads up on MULN. I did look this morning and didn't see any news, so that came after I looked. Sammy says, Cat Striker is one hell of a brave ape. Did I see the letter she got from Kenny? I did see one that she got a week or 10 days ago, Sammy. Is there a new updated one? And she is brave. I mean, I read the letter. I got a couple thoughts. Number one, she's probably judgment proof. meaning if you have no assets, well, they can sue you all they want. It's meaningless. If you're a waitress or an Uber driver or, just somebody living paycheck to paycheck, nothing wrong with any of those. But if you don't have any meaningful assets, Citigroup threatening, Citadel threatening to sue you is meaningless, because what are they going to do? What are they going to get you for? Go at it, Kenny G. Waste your money on lawyers. But she's, she is brave. She's treading on dangerous grounds. I personally would not want to go up against a $1 billion company with infinite money to spend on attorneys. So I admire her conviction and her bravery, but you got to be careful. Mr. N says now Lunk will be running. Yeah, let's see. Let's see how Lunk is trending today. Not Link. No ticker symbol for Lunk. See, there's a business opportunity for some of you. Brian says, what are my take on the first 3 minutes of the SPY having the exact same volume? I don't look at stuff that closely, Brian. It's irrelevant to me. I don't even typically care about the first hour on the SPY. Sammy says, what would a profitable quarter for AMC entail? So we need, overall for the year, Sammy, we need somewhere over $5.25 billion to $6 billion, closer to $6 billion in top line revenue. So divide that out by 4 quarters. As far as specifics, we're still crunching the numbers on that for this coming quarter. I'm going to try and have that for you before AMC's call on August 4th. But so that's what it would require, is box office and concession revenues being high enough, obviously, to overcome the costs that they have on a day-to-day basis and their debt servicing. What would it entail as far as what would happen if AMC reports a profitable quarter? Well, now you really make shorts question their thesis that this company and the movie industry as a whole are dead, that they're headed to zero, that they're going the way of a blockbuster. If that was the story they were pushing in 2020 because of the and it was a convenient story. AMC was struggling in 2019. They had a profitable year in 2018 with just over $5 billion in revenue, and then they had negative earnings in 2019 thanks to Pantheon for doing the AMC debt history video. Go check that out. I tweeted it. I put it on the community tab, I think, too. I didn't know that he had done that, but he saved me a lot of work. AMC, by taking on all this debt and building this strategic plan to be a dominant player in the industry, has also loaded themselves with a massive amount of debt. And that's dragged us down in 2019 and continues to. So that needs to be addressed, and we need profits to pay off that debt earlier. But more importantly, whether or not they pay off the debt early is irrelevant to me. We need profits to show these shorts that this company is not going bankrupt and that people are going back to the movies. That's going to make them question their core belief. And I think it will also massively excite both retail and institutional investors. The investing in this company, although there might not be a short squeeze happening around the corner, that it is a good long-term investment.
The viewer, any point in running after MULN now? Looks like an amazing week for them. The viewer, I covered MULN a few weeks ago, and I said, wait for $1. And when it hit $1, I bought some call options. So I can't in good conscience answer to you what to do at $1.26. Joe, any thoughts on Sundial? Yes, we talked about that earlier, Joe. Go back and review the beginning part of this video. But in short, reverse split is coming. That's going to be bad news. I do own a little bit of Sundial, and I'm going to hold it and hope that these acquisitions that they did show some sign of life in the upcoming quarterly earnings. That's their only prayer. They got to show some positive results, some improving quarter-on-quarter results. And the acquisitions could help them do it. What is it? Alcana and a couple of other cannabis companies that they bought. Alcana being the liquor stores. So we'll see. It's a very risky speculative play. It's not a short squeeze play, in my opinion. And I don't care what that guy in New York says. You could lose all your money in Sundial. I mean, the float is ridiculous. To get something like that to short squeeze at this point is going to require a major catalyst. We need some news from Congress that they're going to legalize cannabis, or we need massive, good earnings. And it could be a good spark for Sundial, and people like to buy cannabis stocks, and people like to buy cheap cannabis stocks. But you can see institutions are not piling in to buy it for 30 cents. So ding, ding, ding. That should be a heads up. Papa Mac says there is a parrot on your shoulder. Holy shit. The fuck? Papa Mac, I'm babysitting until tomorrow. Life is Good says, will there be a delay in receiving your money from Computer Share, or if I do direct trading off the NYSE with Fidelity? I'm seeing people saying to buy and sell with Computer Share, and I'm confused. I really don't want to get into the DRS Computer Share debate. Life is Good, but I'll tell you the same thing I've told every other content creator. This is not a secret. I am not DRSing my own shares for personal reasons. And those reasons are that I am concerned, based on the due diligence that I've done, that I would not be able to sell at the microsecond and exact price of my choosing. Now, if you don't care about selling at the microsecond and price of your choosing, if you're fine with placing an order and having it fulfilled at some point after market opens at some price they determine, then knock yourself out. But it's been a year since I've really looked into DRS deeply. When I found all that stuff out, that was enough for me to say DRS is a fine thing. It does, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I believe, remove your shares from the lending pool. So if you DRS, you probably are hurting the shorts from getting their hands on your shares. But we also need shares floating around to drive up short interest. How do you get a short squeeze if all the shares have been moved to Computer Share? Well, think about that for a second. Let me say that one more time. If all the free float is moved to Computer Share, what are they going to short? How do you get a short squeeze if we've locked all of the float over in Computer Share? Something to think about. Something I'd like to see a debate on. I will not participate in that debate. Too much emotions going on with DRS right now. I have no interest in talking to anybody about that, other than what I just said. I'm not doing it for personal reasons related to concerns around selling at the time and price of my choosing. You guys do what you want. I have no problem with DRS if you want to do it. I have no problem supporting people that want to do DRS. But for personal reasons, selfish, admittedly, I'm not doing it. Jeffrey says, did I see the post about Citron doing a live stream tomorrow? 5 reasons why GME buyers at this level would be suckers. No, Jeffrey. Can you DM me that on Twitter, Jeff? I'd like to know about that, if you don't mind. Hope for a Generation got my Ledger Nano today. If any of you are thinking about getting one of these, I promise 2 videos coming out today on Ledger Nano. Number 1, why you might want to have cold storage. Why you're a sucker if you're keeping your crypto on an exchange. I'm being tongue-in-cheek. I've kept mine on there for a long time, but in a downward over-leveraged crypto market right now, you could be at risk, as Celsius and Voyager folks have found out. I'm not gonna stick around and wait to figure out Coinbase and Gemini are going down too. I'm moving mine out. Moving out. So one video is just going to be a quick recap what the risk is, so you understand. If you're deep into crypto, you already understand it. I know, but for those that are just buying crypto and never paid attention, your money on an exchange is at risk. The second video is just a walkthrough, unboxing and how to set it up, in case you're thinking about buying one and you want to know how complicated it is. So those will be out later today. One of them is almost finished, and the other one I can do in an hour or so. Michael says, have you done a video on how to play AMC if and when it squeezes? I don't know that I have, Michael. What I have said is I plan on selling in batches on the run-up, not trying to time the absolute top because no one knows where it'll be, and watch all the technicals, the moving averages, the RSI, but more importantly, the volume. I hope that it squeezes hard and fast, so fast and so violently up that we're not agonizing over it for days. There'll be halts. There's going to be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And I plan on selling mine. Ideally, I plan on selling mine with limit orders, because I expect that the bid-ask spread will be wide. And if I just put in a market order, well, they're likely to give me that really low price. Oh, AMC is trading between $100 and $125, or $1,000 and $1,250, or $10,000 and $12,000. If I just put in a market order, guess which price they're going to give me? Yeah, the one that I didn't want. So I'll put in a limit order somewhere in between the middle of the spread, and then cross my fingers that I caught it on an uptick. The danger of limit orders is you put it in, and then it downticks, and then it downticks, and then it downticks. And now you're stuck with this order. You got to go cancel real quick and resubmit. So know that if you day trade, you already know this. Sometimes limit orders don't get filled, and then you're chasing it on the downside. But I'm not going to give them the chance to screw me with a market order. That's my current plan. I'll reserve the right to change my mind. Bringers of Z says, isn't Coinbase restricting withdrawals of now? I don't know. I haven't seen news about that. Voyager was, and Celsius was. Let me check the old Googles. I don't see anything on that in the news, but if y'all got news on that I missed, let me know. That would be important to know. Paolo, good morning. MV Jin Lin says Ledger is really cheap insurance policy for your crypto. Yes. I got this for $79. And there is another one called the Ledger X. If you want the ability to use it mobile, without a USB cable, you can spend twice as much, $149 for a Ledger X, Ledger Nano X. This is the Ledger Nano S Plus. I would not recommend the Nano S. Get the Nano S Plus. Gives you a lot more capability to trade and store more crypto. Nano S is the old model. You want the S Plus or the X, depending on if you need mobile capability or not. Nicholas, his name is Ken Griffin. Ken Griffin lies. He's being quiet today. I guess, his mama told him if you can't tell the truth, don't say nothing. Sammy says, how can Ford have a share price of 11 and Tesla 700? Sammy, more importantly, would be to look at the PE ratio, right? Price is not something to compare stocks on because price is relative to the float. So the PE ratio gives you a level set on that. Price. Market cap and price per share and price PE ratio is price divided by earnings. Both of those give you different viewpoints. So got to look at market cap, price per share, and PE ratio, which is relative to earnings. So the PE ratio on Ford is 590. Tesla 60. So just based on earnings, Tesla is valued at 10 times more than Ford, but only building a fraction of the cars. That's why when Tesla was at 1,200, I said it's grossly overvalued. And it would be coming back down. But, that's not knocking Tesla. I've owned Tesla many times over the years. I'm currently out of it, waiting for a good re-entry point and the next retail-induced push back up. Nicholas says, where do I go to watch the short percentage in real time when AMC squeezes? If I'm live that day, which I plan to be, we will have Ortex up. That's about as good as anything, but we will see, all we can see on short interest, all that anybody really can see is data that is 2 days old. So I don't really know how valuable looking at short interest data will be. Honestly. When we see this return shares over here, 417, these are shares that were returned on Thursday. We can see new borrowed shares. That's fresh data. But we're not going to really get and if everything happens on the squeeze in 2 days, this is going to be of no use to us. God, I think I do have a pirate hat. If I do an afternoon stream, I'll get the pirate cap back out. It probably has I think I do have some old Halloween stuff saved somewhere in a closet in the West Wing. Jorge says, what platform can I use to buy more crypto? Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini. Depends on what state and country you're in, Jorge. There's a bunch of still solvent crypto exchanges. I'd go with one of the old standbys, not one of the newer ones. And you guys in chat, feel free to drop your favorite down below. I'm still using Kraken and Gemini. Bior on the move, Paulo says. What is old Prague doing this morning? Bior. B-I-O-R. Look at her. Look at her. Just look at it.
Look at that. Oh, look at that. First thing
It is up 9.6%. Let's see what's going on with Prague. No news that I can see. Yeah, I did buy a little bit of Prague, right around $1 for a 5-year hold. Just in case they ever get a buyout offer. If it drops down to 50 cents, I might add a little bit more. I did not on the last time it fell. Let's put Prague down here in the bottom right since Redbox is done. Buy or what's the low recently been? I think it probably fell to about 50 cents at one point, didn't it? Yep, 56 cents. Now that I kind of know where the bottom is, if it dips down there again, which it very likely could, I might add some more. But don't consider that. You're not going to see a return on this money that you put into Prague for a while. It needs some good PPN, plausible pump news. Prague needs for all the pumpers to load it up really cheap. And then they need a bit of good news that these guys can come tell you Prague's going to $20. And you'll all jump in and it'll run to $4. So I like to buy these. You know, if I think the company's not going bankrupt, I like to buy them and just hang on. All of these things have cycles. 6 months, sometimes a year, for the pumpers to accumulate enough cheap shares to pump it again. So you spread enough of those little gambles around and you'll catch a few of them. Ms. My man, any thoughts on Richard Newtown's channel? Have not heard of him. Ms. Keygen says, I frequently see you talking about DRS. Me? No. I don't ever talk about DRS. I will answer an occasional question on it. And I will not make a video on it, no. I don't have enough. I haven't done any recent due diligence. I did a bunch a year ago, made up my mind that it was not for me, and that's what I'm willing to share. That'd be a boring video. I support anyone that does DRS. I support any content creators that do it. I support any content creators that don't do it. I am neutral. As George Bush said, I am Sweden. It's Switzerland, Tony. It's Switzerland. I know. Bringer of Z says you kind of sound like the look at this guy. Less exaggerated version. That's the look I've been going for. I'm glad you kind of keyed in on that. I sound like him too. Listen.
Look at that. Oh, look at that. First thing I do is I say, would you look at that? Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Oh.
How was that impression? I've been working on it. He is one of my idols. Sammy Boy, have you heard of the Sandbox? It is crypto coin. I have not, Sammy. If GME squeezed because of DRS and the AMC didn't, would you begin to DRS? If I could prove, Matt, that it was because of DRS, yes, absolutely. I need more convincing. I'm open to be convinced about anything. Right now, I'm not convinced that it's helpful. It doesn't mean that I'm convinced it's harmful either. I am literally neutral. I don't care what you guys do. I don't care what anybody else does with DRS. All right, let's close out with a couple of news things here. Refresh. Now you're going to talk? Ken Griffin lied. Nope. Red. How'd we close in Asia? Nikkei was green. The rest were red. European markets all red. Let's look at, see if we still got inverted bonds. He can make that noise. 2-year 3.03, 10-year 2.97. Yep. We don't want to see the 2-year higher than the 10-year. At least the bond market doesn't. Wall Street sees this number higher than this one. That is, from time to time, traditionally considered a hallmark of recession, potential recession. Oil hanging in lower than we have seen in recent weeks at 102. For West Texas crude, Brent is at 104. Gold, 1736. As the strength in the dollar continues, I'm not really sure what is going to happen with gold, but you guys know as it was running up to 2,000, I had a lot of people coming in here telling me, Tony, why aren't you telling everybody buy gold? It's 2,000 going to 3,000. I was like, I don't buy gold on a run up. If I was buying gold, I'd be buying it around 1,200, 1,300 max. So I'll wait. I'll wait for gold to drop back down. I might have to wait a year, might have to wait 2. That's fine. And then if I buy it, I might have to wait 10 for it to come up. That's why I stopped trading gold. You forget, I've been doing this a couple hundred years. I've seen a few cycles. Gold just doesn't really get me out of bed. Not exciting enough of a commodity for me to trade. Don't nobody want to be waiting years for something to show a return. 20 years, 10 years, screw that. We got crypto now, guys. Come on. All right, what else? What else? Oh, shit. Klarna valuation plunges 85%. Poor Klarna. Buy now, pay later company out of Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that becomes a problem when inflation and interest rates go up. People start not being able to pay their loans, their buy now, pay later loans. Costco CEO, one word to answer whether he would raise the price of a hot dog. No. I did catch a couple minutes of Costco's CEO on CNBC this morning. He mentioned they've noticed a decline in hard goods from the in their sales, jewelry and the like, TVs, as people again are thinking about recession, dealing with higher costs on everyday goods, food, gas. There's less money to buy jewelry and TVs. So I'll need to think about Costco. I like Costco, but I need to think about what I might be doing with it going forward. if there's any potential plays. I'll let you know if I come up with anything. It's way down on my list of things that I'm working on. Mortgage rates. Oh, I got an interesting tweet to show you. I think Casey actually stole this from Casey Shaw. This is an interesting one. If you weren't paying attention to global news this week, Sri Lanka pissed off about like 70% inflation, storms the streets, the president and the prime minister flee the country, and they take over the presidential palace. The citizens do. Hello, Washington, D.C., we're coming for you next if you don't shape up. Oh, you know, I think I didn't tweet. I shared it in my Discord. Let's go right to Casey Shaw and look at his tweet. Austin, where I live. Austin June inventory exploded by 2,132. I'm assuming that's units, yeah, because it doesn't say percentage. We talk a lot of real estate in the Discord. Several people either buying or selling homes or owning rental properties. You know, for me, this is exciting because if we can get the real estate market to crash in Texas right about the time that we get a short squeeze, that would be ideal for me. Go out and buy that ranch land. Nicholas says gold and silver will plummet once the feds roll out their crypto coin. If you guys think a crypto coin is coming out very soon from the Fed, I would urge you to consider going to watch my videos, several of them, on the Fed and CBDC. I have a very different opinion than what I call the tinfoil hat crypto coin next week, next month, next year. My opinion, my due diligence, not going to see that anytime soon. What it might do when it happens to gold and silver, that is a good discussion to have. But there's no, in my work, no crypto coin from the federal government coming out soon, although they certainly are feeling some pressure to do so based on foreign competition. But you're talking the biggest banking economy in the world, a banking economy that is dependent on having banks and having M2 money supply and reserve, a reserve system. And you can't just roll out a crypto coin from the Fed and put all the banks out of business. This has to be thought through because the ramifications of doing so are massive. And right now they're saying even if they do one, they're going to severely limit the amount that any one citizen can own. Otherwise, they will crater all private banks. Banks make their money loaning out dollars. And right now, there's no plan to make Fed coin a loanable thing. Now, a lot of things can change, but that takes a lot of work, a lot of coordination, a lot of talks. None of this is happening soon in the United States. I get it. I've heard all the other side. I don't care to discuss it. You guys can go to the other channels for that. I'm taking a more sensible, reasonable approach based on congressional testimony from the Fed and from the SEC. And the fact of, I don't know, actually understanding how banking works and what the downside would be to rushing out a Fed coin. Roseanne says, I'm surprised people have not risen up yet here. Roseanne, that day could be coming here. I try not to be doom and gloom to the point of like becoming a prepper channel, but in the Discord, I'm saying to these guys, right now is the time just to make sure you have, 30 days worth of extra toilet paper, paper towels, whatever necessities that you want. Some staple goods, coffee, pasta, rice and beans, spaghetti sauce. I've been through some of these in my own city just in the past 2 years where the grocery shelves get wiped out. Even though we got distribution centers a few hours away, people, when they get panicky, will wipe out the shelves here for a week or 10 days. You don't want the day that happens. It's not going to be announced. It's just going to happen. You don't want the day that happens to be the day you ran out of groceries, because you're screwed. It's just good sense, good common sense in these uncertain times to be a little bit prepared. Go fill up your closet with 4 extra weeks of toilet paper, paper towels. You don't need to have a year's worth supply. But you also don't want to be running out the day everybody panics here. And there's a lot of different scenarios. That is one here. It's foolish to ignore that is not a possibility. Am I saying it's a certainty? Do I make every video urging you to prep? No. But I don't ignore it. I am prepped. I have my food supply in the backyard, chickens and garden, and I have guns and ammo, and I've got my closet set up with at least 4 to 6 weeks of food. That's my extent of planning. If you have a supply of food and stuff, don't advertise it unless you have guns. Because then you'll be a target. I saw, who was it? Nancy Pelosi this weekend said they need to outlaw all guns that are designed to be deadly. Oh, Lordy. Nancy. I guess she had too many margaritas on the beach in Italy. Too many pina coladas. Why are people going to panic, Sergio? I mean, it's just a possibility if inflation gets out of control here, Sergio. I mean, look at Sri Lanka. Go look at my Twitter. Look at 70% inflation rate in Turkey. Look at what's going on with energy prices. Hopefully we steer our way out of it. I'm not saying that this is a certainty, but you should admit it is a possibility. And if you can agree that it's at least a possibility, good planning, you go back to your Boy Scout training, always be prepared. It doesn't take that much to put a few weeks aside. I'm not saying go crazy and buy a year's worth of supplies. I did mention that to all my friends and family back in January or February of 2020, and they all thought I was crazy. What do you mean, buy toilet paper? There's plenty of toilet paper. And then come into March, can we borrow some toilet? There's no toilet. I can't believe it. Why did they wipe out the toilet paper? It's just a virus. Right. It doesn't make sense. It never makes sense, but panicky Karens. Hi, Karen. I see you in the chat. We love you, Karen. Soccer moms circulate all that news on the Facebook, and they all run to the store and buy 5 shopping carts worth of toilet paper. People just act silly when they get panicked. You don't want to be fighting that. Just go do it now at your leisure. Plus, if nothing else, think about this. Prices are probably going to continue to go up. So even if you don't need it for a prepping scenario, you're loading up at what probably is going to be a cheaper price than 3 months from now. Upstart, Fritz is asking about Upstart. Upstart's up 1%. What's DWAC doing? Did it die out? Well, DWAC's up almost 13% on news of Elon. I'll do a DWAC update, but if you've been following me, you know, about a week ago, I think I only announced this in the Discord. I doubled my position on DWAC a week ago. But DWAC, I still term it a very speculative play. There's nothing to value this company on, right? Other than good news and bad news. I could give two shits about Trump. I'm playing it for a retail momentum play. Trump puts out good news. DWAC gets a merger agreement pushed through. This thing is going to skyrocket. Why? You don't have to like the why, but half of America wants an alternative to Twitter. The bad news for DWAC was Elon getting involved with Twitter, because that provides, you know, maybe a rational voice on Twitter. So the fact that Elon and Twitter are breaking up potentially, that's a catalyst for DWAC right now. Elon could still rug pull Digital World if he works out a deal. So I'm not ignoring that. DWAC is not a certainty. I'm not loading the boat with DWAC. It's one position of many. But if it runs, the potential is much higher than the downside. I mean, the downside's zero, right? If the SEC does not approve the merger, they're investigating Digital World right now. If the SEC does not approve the merger, DWAC could go back down to $10. So that's your downside. Both are equal possibilities in my book. So I'm not pushing DWAC. I'm just saying I think the upside potential is higher, but I'm not ignoring the risks. MULN News, yes, Nick, we talked about MULN News earlier. 600 vehicles is good. It's not super exciting. Paying off $17 million in their debt on July 5th. Was it July 5th? Recently, in the last week, I think, July 5th, there was an announcement that they paid off a vast majority of their debt. That is also good news. MULN is a long way away from being profitable, and I predict that there will be massive dilution approved at the upcoming shareholders meeting. So tread with caution, and just in case, I've got some September $2 calls. That's all I'm willing to risk on MULN. I've found zero reason to buy MULN stock. I've heard all the bullish cases. I've done a video on it, I think. I covered MULN and Polestar so far. More coming on the other EVs. But I try and present you guys both sides so you don't jump in based on one guy that's telling you it's going to $10 every day for the last 3 months. Meanwhile, bankrupting himself. We're doing a countdown and rolling the dice for him and saying prayers that MULN gets to at least 350 for him by Friday, or he's out $100,000 on his call options. Hate to see somebody YOLO their life saving. No, he didn't even YOLO his life saving. He YOLO'd his friends and family's money. 100K on MULN, and they all expire this Friday. If he's right, he will stand to make millions. If he's wrong, Sub has the boss. Good morning. But I do have a position in MULN. There's a chance. If they get good news, there's a chance that retail could run it up. It's a cheap stock. Let's see what the short interest is at. I think the short interest is not high enough to make it a short squeeze, if I recall. But, you know, regardless of that, retail run up on a $1 stock could easily get it over $2. That was my position on that. Yeah, short interest is, it's higher than I remembered it being. Percent of estimated short interest, 14%. See, I'd prefer it to be over 20%. Cost to borrow is 26%. There is some short interest. Probably not enough to make a short squeeze. But if MULN gets the dilution at the next earnings call and raises some money, then that probably will get them into 2024 and let them actually start producing some vehicles. So I hope they make it, but it's not a slam dunk for them long term. In the short term, could they get a little bit of price action on good news? Absolutely, they could. Just recognize it's not a certainty. Don't overload your portfolio on one stock. And for those of you that are strong MULN supporters, or you're spending your day on channels that have told you it's going to skyrocket, I see all of the people on Twitter and their channels giving you the case. I get it. I've heard all of it, but I apply more analysis to my stocks than looking at short exempt volume, short interest, and cost to borrow. I'm sorry, you cannot just look at that and call every play. That is foolish. You can make you'll get some of them right, but you guys are listening to that stuff and buying in and bag holding now. You know where I'm coming from. We try and pick a reasonable entry point for these stocks. So that's how I do more research than just looking at a couple charts before I jump in on something. Javi in the house. What's up, friend? Kathy says, shall we buy DWAC? I'll tell you, Kathy, I bought my first DWAC. We made a shit ton of money the first week on DWAC when it just, the day it launched. I saw some other channels kind of like didn't really understand it and didn't participate. Oh yeah, DWAC's running. Interesting. I'll look at that later. I immediately saw Digital World, True Social, Trump. Half the country is going to want to run this thing. We jumped on it and made thousands of dollars in a couple days on DWAC, and then got out. And I said it's going to come down, way down, below 50. And I waited. Finally got a little bit below 50, and then about a week ago, I got a little more at 23. But I still consider it super, super risky. I would not load the boat with DWAC. But if we get more good news, if we get an orange man running for office, it'll pop. But keep in mind what administration is in office and the fact they have even though the SEC is not supposed to be political, they're investigating DWAC to break up that merger between True Social and DWAC. I'd hate to see some shenanigans go like that go on, but you got to understand the pieces of the puzzle that are moving and who's controlling the puzzle. It would be a shame if we can't have a free voice out there. It'd be a shame. but they're doing their best between the J6 hearings and the SEC investigation of DWAC. They're doing their best to silence other voices. You gotta look at that big picture and see what they're doing, and all of that. The only reason I mention that is I could give two shits about all that stuff. I'm not watching it. I don't care, but it is relevant to understand the forces working against DWAC. That's all I care about. I'm not going to just say that's never gonna affect DWAC. It absolutely could affect DWAC. You're foolish if you think they don't have a chance of torpedoing this thing. Therefore, I keep my investment in DWAC reasonable. Space Ape, I don't know how old he is. I forget. I'm just watching him for a friend for a week. He goes home tomorrow. He has been very noisy, but now that he trusts me, now that I know he's not trying to snap my finger off, I realize that his noisiness was because he didn't want to be in his cage. His favorite sound is the chirp of a smoke detector missing the battery. And he will do that nonstop all day if he's in his cage. It is really, really annoying. But as you can see, he's been sitting here now for, 2 hours and hadn't barely made a peep. Do you have something you want to say? No. But he does talk. He was whistling and popping. You got nothing to say today, huh? He knows some words, but I don't know the extent of his true vocabulary. I've been testing him. He won't really repeat anything. But when I leave him alone, especially if he wants out, he'll start talking. I think he's young. He still looks kind of small. Ann says, please do not say you think the election was stolen. January 6th wasn't an insurrection. I did not say that, Ann. I said I analyze what is going on in Washington and the SEC relative to my investment in DWAC. Hopefully that's clear to you guys. This is not a politics channel. I don't talk about that shit on here. But I do make inferences of how things in Washington are affecting my investments, because that's what we're here to talk about. I said, if you're invested in DWAC and you're ignoring what's going on with hearings and investigations, you're being foolish. Hopefully that's clear. Understand current events as they relate to your investments. That's what we do here. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to call it a morning. I'm going to try and come back with you for market close, and I got to get these Ledger and cold storage wallet videos out for you. If you're in crypto, and you don't have a cold storage wallet, you'll want to see these videos. Thank you for your time this morning. AMC currently at 14.45, down 1.5%. GameStop down. Well, it's actually flat. We'll call it at 0 at 128.48. Thanks for your time. Love you guys. We will see you back on the next live stream, and I'm going to try and get Massalorian back on here soon. He was moving this weekend, and he had his phone off. So I'm going to check in with him on my lunch break, and I will see you guys back here shortly.